Happy Monday, Facebook world. Here we are for nightly reflections with Yana, joining you tonight. In the comforts of my home, as always. I should take this elsewhere. Could be fun, go in the park, stuff like that. I was out in my yard most of the day today. Well, no, that's not true. I was doing work, and then I had a good workout. I should do something fun and exciting here with you guys. Welcome. I see some folks are joining. We're using a different kind of app. It's called StreamYard. So I don't see people's names pop up as they're viewing. So I can't really shout you out. So if you could, please let me know who's watching so I know who you are. Like I said, this is a little different, so I don't see anyone's name pop up. But wondering how everyone's doing on this Monday. Would love to hear from you about your day, if you got outside, also your weekend. It was a beautiful weekend. I actually spent it in the woods. I did some backpacking on the Finger Lakes Trail. Hi, Danny. Thanks for saying hello. Thanks for joining. Sean, myself, and 3 dogs spent some time in the woods. No social media, really. No cell phone reception, just nature. Learned a couple of things. One is Mike Downey. Hi, my friend. Hi, Julie. Hey, you guys. Hi, Kendall. Good to see you. So one thing I learned from a weekend in the woods is Nia, who's like a Shih Tzu Yorkie kind of mix, is more in better hiking shape than Brody and Hazel. So my 2 pitties. Nia outdoes them every time. This happened in the Adirondacks also. She's a little nugget, full of pep. She does bite sometimes, and if my big dogs acted like little Nia does, we'd be in trouble, but she's cute as pie. Hi, Linda. Glad you joined us tonight, this evening. Some other lessons from the woods and from nature is just the power of the outdoors. I think about like spirituality. I find my spiritual connection in the woods. And I was thinking about, I think one of the feeds, there was a question about, how do you get connected with kind of a spiritual life? And we were in the woods and the wind was blowing and it just felt so beautiful and peaceful, to really be mindful, to really be present and to feel the wind on your face. And then I looked around and there were these monstrous trees that were down, roots and all showing. And I thought about the power of the wind, and how this beautiful, magical, gentle power has the ability, when angry or mad or whatever you want to call it, to take down these giant trees, roots and all, and kind of this connection to, nature, undisturbed, right? The beauty of nature and how simple life can truly be. I think I've shared this before, that when I'm just out in the woods with my little pack and my tent, and that's really all I need, I'm completely and totally content. All my immediate needs are met. I have my shelter, I have food, I have, my 2 legs that carry me through, the doggies that keep me company and cuddle up at night when it's chilly, and just the simplicity of things. Hi, Tony. Good to see you. Hope things are going well at Veterans Outreach Center and Richard's house. I think about you often. And I see we have a new member, Drew, moving back to Rochester soon in early recovery. Welcome to this beautiful life of recovery and all the gifts it has to offer. I look forward to meeting you. I hope you join us soon. We're working on a plan to start to slowly introduce in-person programming. That's right. Welcome, Drew. Let's have a big hello for a new member. So we're looking to kind of introduce some face-to-face, and we're going to start with our outreach and engagement specialists. Kendall, you're new too. Welcome. I've seen you in a couple of feeds, but I'm glad you said something. I wouldn't have known that. Welcome, welcome. This life is an incredible gift. Incredible gift. So we're starting with our outreach and engagement specialists, being able to meet folks out in the community. We're also looking to start to kind of open our center, not the gym portion, but the actual center for kind of just peer support, safe place to go, hang out with some of your favorite people, I hope, myself and Kirsten. Just relax. We have a garden that could use some TLC, or just drink some coffee and talk and catch up. So we hope to have some news for you guys this week in terms of dates and how that's going to work. And I'm really excited to see all your faces, the current and the new ones. It's a great time to be sober. It's a great time to be alive, right? So many changes and so much growth to be had in recovery and in the world beyond. And I really liked, you guys know I read out of my little daily reading thing. And I have this one, it's Each Day a New Beginning. It's kind of like mutual aid-ish, but it doesn't really mention mutual aid. It's for women, but if you just say people instead of women, it makes a ton of sense. Kendall, yes, in the garden, perfect. We have some stuff that came up from last year, but we really need to groom it and do some work on it. And I think it could be great. We had a community garden a couple of years ago, and a lot of folks in the community came and picked veggies, and it was really abundant, and it was really a great way to connect with our neighborhood and just our people. So this reading for today, I think was just spot on and perfect. The process of living for each of us is pretty similar. For every gain, there is a setback. For every success, a failure. For every moment of joy, a time of sadness. For every hope realized, one is dashed. Sue Ashley Ebo. And I think it's just so perfect. Because life is like this ebb of flow, right? Ebb and flow. This too shall pass, some of those cliche sayings. And I mentioned at one of my feeds, I have a tattoo. It's in Hebrew and it says Gamzeavo, and it's kind of slang for this too shall pass. What goes up must comes down. I think the literal meaning is the ball keeps rolling. And I was having this conversation with someone actually, I think last week, about, we have to have this mindset of being in the present, because even the good moments, right, where we're in the good moments, it's easy to find peace. It's easy to find spirituality. It's really in the moments that are challenging where we're put to the test, right? But both the good moments and the bad moments, or the challenging moments, will pass. And the balance of events in our lives is much like the balance of nature, right? We were talking about the wind. I actually didn't think of that when I was telling you the story about camping. The balance of nature, the ebb and flow, the creeks and the waterfalls, right? We were going up where we get water from flowing creeks, and some were flowing light. And I was just thinking of like when they're I think early spring, when the snow's melting and those waters are rushing, they are unstoppable, right? They could cause ocean storms, cause so much destruction, but they also provide so much peace and so much beauty. The pendulum swings. Every extreme condition is offset by its opposite, and we learn to appreciate the gifts of the bad times as well as the periods of rest, right? In my experience, my greatest moments of growth have come through my darkest times. right? Both before and during recovery, I was at my absolute low. I had gotten arrested a bunch of times. I was just absolutely beat up, absolutely defeated. I was suicidal. I attempted to take my life towards the very end. I ended up in the hospital. And from there sprung up this beautiful life, this life I never ever dreamt of. And the same in recovery. One of the darkest times was when our friend Pat, right, one of the founding members, many of you that have been to the center see his portrait, when Pat died, that was the lowest, I think. There were two times in my recovery that I've really hit um, new depths of despair, I would call it. But from there came, after time, I tried to walk through it with as much grace as I could. I didn't always have a whole lot of grace, but with time came like this new fire, this new understanding and awareness. And then I started to live for his memory, right? And live for his mission as opposed to fight against addiction. On occasion, we'll discover that our course in life has changed direction. We need not be alarmed. Um, our every concern, every detail of our lives will be taken care of in the right way at the right time. I truly believe that this like divine order of things, we're shown exactly what we need in the right way, at the right place, at the right time. Even in my recovery, I've had memories resurface or surface, really, not resurface, past memories surface years into recovery. I think I had one just a couple months ago. And I was shown those memories at a time when I could finally tolerate them emotionally, right? Traumatic events, painful, shameful events. Throughout my journey, and I have just over 6 years, at different times, these situations and memories and experiences are shown to me. And it just so happens it's at a time when I'm emotionally strong enough to deal with them. You know, we can develop gratitude for all conditions, good or bad. Each has its necessary place in our development as healthy, happy people. We need the sorrows along with the joys if we are to gain new insights. Our failures keep us humble. They remind us of our need for the care and guidance of others. And for every hope dashed, we can remember one will be realized. And I would offer up, I have like my skin kind of crawls when I hear failure, the word failure. I just don't agree with it. When it says our failures keep us humble, I would say our struggles, our perseverance. The only sure way to fail, the only way we fail is if we don't get up one more time, is if we don't try again. But every single time we get up, right, that's perseverance. Every single time we get up, we have a chance. And they're all learning opportunities. I said I have 6 years in recovery, just over 6 years. But before that, I had another attempt. I had about 11 months and I quote unquote failed, right? And I had so much shame, so much guilt, so much self hatred. I didn't need anyone to point out that I had failed. I had felt like a complete failure. But really, people would tell me, like, you didn't lose your lived experience. You didn't lose everything you've gained in those 11 months, those experiences, right? Not even the material things, but the growth and the experiences have been pretty magical. So it's not our failures, it's our perseverance. It's our it's all the different ways we've tried that haven't worked. Mm. Life is a process. I will accept the variations with gratitude. Each in its own way blesses me. Um, so I think it's super relatable. I know for me, and I hope you guys got something out of it. But it's this ebb and flow of life, the ebb and flow of the good times, the challenging times, but really the opportunities for growth. It's all about our experiences, right? I say this all the time, but our lived experiences are our greatest asset, right? Our past. That's our greatest asset. And it's regardless of addiction recovery, mental health, trauma, eating disorders. Lately, a lot has been coming up. A lot of women I've been talking to that struggle with eating disorders. Um, and it's just such a gift to be able to share with them that, like, I've gone through it too, and here I am on the other side. I think I'm going on like 2 years, maybe even this month or next month, 2 years being symptom free, right? I didn't, these past 6 years haven't all been smooth sailing, right? Um, They just haven't. They've been challenging, and 4 years into my sobriety, gosh, I was in so much pain. I hadn't treated my eating disorder, and it had slowly but surely, and maybe not even so slowly, took over my life. And I came to a place where I was faced, right, with that decision. Um, I couldn't tolerate it anymore. The emotional pain was too great. My life was on the line. I had physical consequences. I just felt entirely defeated. And was I going to turn back to drugs and alcohol because I just couldn't live that way anymore? And I hated myself enough to where that seemed like a viable option, or was I going to face the pain? Was I going to work through this illness, right? The pain um, of an eating disorder, and that's like, I always say an eating disorder is the hardest addiction to kick because you have to learn how to moderate. You can't avoid food, and I just got into that story just to kind of share my experience. It's been coming up in a lot of conversations, so I felt kind of inspired to talk about it some more this time. But it all speaks to, like, we're in recovery from something, every one of us, right? That one was for Sean. I see Sean's watching. He loves when people say that, when they say right after everything they say, right? I see Julie joined, moving to Rochester, another one in September. You'll be new here. It's a good support network. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you found us. We're super excited to have you join. Super excited for you to become part of our family. And I can't wait to meet all these new folks that have found us during this virtual kind of universe. The biggest thing is, no matter what you're going through, don't give up. Don't give up. There's the only sure way to fail is to not get up that one more time, right? Right? The world is your oyster. Anything is possible. If it's possible for me, if I can get to where I am in my recovery and in life, you could certainly do it. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you could share some of your thoughts or reflections of how you got through times where you just didn't think you could, and sort of what you learned from them. Because I think we all have them, right? Sometimes it's hard to remember, to bring them into our memory, to use them to inspire us. But they're there. And when we kind of reflect, when we're able to look back at our past and recognize the moments where we persevered, our greatest accomplishments, that was actually the icebreaker at our staff meeting today. What is your greatest accomplishment? Recovery is a huge one. Parenthood's a huge one. For me, it was the Manny on the Jenny that Sean made me do. I have this list, totally unrelated, sort of. It's not really a list, but my best friend back home in Staten Island would say it's the list of stupid shit Sean made me do. It included a marathon. It included Manny on the Jenny, which is a 40-mile trail run. Tough Mudders. God, I don't even remember what else. Sean, if you're still watching, chime in with all this nonsense. 3 weeks on the Appalachian Trail, which was by far my absolute favorite time. Tony, fighting for my kiddos through divorce. That is tough. That is a really tough one. And it's certainly, it takes perseverance, right? I know you know about that. Greatest accomplishment for sure. That's really tough. That's really, really tough. And to be able to, get through it and be able to then share your experience with others, help others, other veterans, other guys going through divorces or similar things, is truly a gift. Because I bet when you were going through it, you didn't think that it would help you, right? And now it's one of our greatest assets, right? Everything we've been through, because we can pass it on. Sean, Appalachian Trail, Grace. Yeah, that was a pretty cool accomplishment. Definitely. Just being out in nature. I hope you guys got a chance to do that this weekend, today. I hope you make some plans to do it this coming week. It's going to be a beautiful week. I mean, every day is a beautiful day, right? I say this all the time too, so sorry for being redundant, but every sober breath is a gift for me and for all of us, because the odds have been against us from day one, and we are all true examples that recovery is possible. We are paving the way for those that are struggling, and we are the power of good. Yeah. So before I start rambling about random things, Sean, that's a really good one. Becoming humble enough to ask for help and become teachable got me through my toughest times. That is spot on. It's hard to kind of humble ourselves to a place where we could ask for help. And I know especially in Tony and Sean will be able to speak to it. As in the veteran community, how do you ask for help when you're taught never to ask for help? And it's true for many of us. And it is probably one of the hardest things to do, but one of the ones that's the most important is to ask for help and become open-minded. And Kurt, me and my second wife, lost our daughter at 8 months. Oh, Kurt. We were devastated. It took us 2 years for us to try for another. We were successful and now have a daughter, Ava, that is so amazing. God's plan was not ours, but somehow he gave us love and time to get through. Wow. I'm so sorry for the loss of your daughter. And I'm so very grateful for you, and I'm grateful for your daughter, Ava, too. We get through some really, really hard times. We do. And the beauty of it is we don't have to pick up, right, drugs or alcohol. We have this community, like, look at you guys sharing a piece of your heart with me. Tony, we would be reprimanded or fear of reprimanded while on active duty. You're sharing a piece of your heart. You're sharing a piece of your soul. Not just me, but this virtual world, right? And you're passing along your stories of hope. And that's going to help others. And I'm so very fortunate to be able to share this space with you tonight. And I'm so very grateful for your honesty and your vulnerability. I hope you continue to do the great work. Kurt actually just opened, in the midst of an epidemic, a pretty cool ice cream shop, Scoops on Gibbs. I hope you all check it out. Now's the time for ice cream. And then you could meet some people you haven't known before. If you haven't known Kurt, you could check him out at Scoops. And we at Recovery love ice cream, probably more than most things, to make sure you check them out. Thanks everyone for joining me this evening. I look forward to these chats. I value your input, your feedback, and I can't wait for Wednesday when I'll see you again. Michael Downey, completing 1 year as a peer advocate. Thank you, Recovery Fitness. Learn how to advocate for myself while advocating for others. Isn't that such a gift? That is such a gift. Oh my goodness. To have been just a stepping stone, in your journey and your growth has been definitely a gift. So I want to wish you guys and everyone a great evening. Brody here says hello. We pooped him out. Brody, you alive, bud? Brode? Good night on that one. See you all Wednesday. Bye.